I've heard that song 70 times and it never gets old.
All right. So,
Well,
yeah, it's
happy
episode
70th
70, dude.
show, holidays, New Year, Christmas. Happy all of it, buddy.
Yeah. Well, guess what? 70 shows, and it's right. We timed it perfectly, right for the end of the year, right? To do our
We did.
end of the year nerdtastic.
It's because we're
celebration.
perfect.
We're perfect.
We are perfect.
We're really getting into our groove here. I love the background. I don't know if you saw the GIF earlier of all of our freeze frames.
I love it.
But it features, we had so many great guests this year on the show from all walks, from all over, fellow nerds like us. We thought it'd be cool to bring some of those folks back on the show today. So not giving it away because we're going to have, it's going to be like a loungy happy hour type of show. We're going to have some people pop in, pop out, talk about what they nerded out about in 2021 and send this year off. I don't know about you. It's been quite a this year's been quite a decade.
It has been. It certainly has been. And I think you and I have something else we have to do first. We have a little bit of the annual exchanging of the gifts, I believe.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to take
and that's gift. That's with a T, not annual exchanging of the gifts.
No, that makes sense. Let's do that first, man. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
I've got this box that somebody sent me. I think we should.
Yeah.
I'm opening mine right now.
Okay, go for it. I'm going to do the same.
Ooh.
Nice. All right, here we go.
Look, Ryan, I love this. Look at this. This is such a nice gift.
I know. I spared no expense.
A piece of cardboard. I love it.
All right. I'm going
wait, no, that's not the gift. Oh my God, dude! Look at this. A zombie survival guide. That's I'm gonna need that.
Is that like apropos?
This guy was in there.
A little bit apropos. Well, you need, look on there. That's got it's a little flat marshmallow guy. Flat Stanley.
But this is what's really important.
Yeah, look at that ecto cooler.
I love that. Thanks, man.
That was the menu at the Alamo when I went to go see the Ghostbusters movie in the theater, and thought you'd get a kick out of the recipe there.
I will get it. I'm going to make them. I love it. I'm actually going to make that.
Oh my gosh.
Fully posable alien.
I'm still cutting into this box with the industrial tape here.
Look at this. You even gave me some branded socks. That is a lovely regift. And Dr. Raymond Stantz. Now, this Playmobil figure is going to go right next to my... I think you'll know where it's going to go. Ready?
Oh yeah. I know.
Oh, yeah, that's the good stuff. You know.
All
you
right.
knew.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. You're the best partner.
Love it. Oh my gosh, dude. This will go very nicely. Lightsaber selfie stick, everybody.
Yes. Now, we were supposed to use that in Vegas together, but...
Well, we'll see. We'll hold that for another time.
2021.
Maybe we'll test it out. Maybe we should do a live show on location.
Maybe we should.
Test that out. But, dude, there's all right, I'm just holding this up. There's a dozen Star Wars Pez.
That is all the Star Wars Pez dispensers, by the way.
All right, we got Chewbacca. We got R2D2. R2's the favorite.
So you got a lightsaber selfie stick, but I got an actual lightsaber.
Oh, dude, dog tags. Star Wars dog tags. I'm going to be completely nerded out for 2022. And Tamagotchi.
Well, you know what? I know you loved R2, and I figured you probably didn't have that.
Dude, that's awesome because I love retro. We talk about retro toys all the time. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas, partner. It's been
so
a
I want
good
to ask,
year.
did you get anything cool? I guess you wanted to show off the lightsaber, right?
I did. I just did.
So you got lightsaber for Christmas, which is totally awesome. Yep. Give me a moment here. I need to give this.
I also got some really cool riding gear, but that stuff will all premiere on Black Cherry Garage in the spring.
Yeah. So tell me, what's coming up for Black Cherry Garage? You said you were really jonesing to get out there in the field. And,
I am. I'm kind of hoping we do a winter ride, but right now I've got all my racks and bumpers off because I got to paint them. So.
All right. Well, I want to tell you. So I've got my mom gave me a new Baby Yoda T-shirt, which I think I have a wardrobe where I could wear a different one every week, probably every day for 2 weeks now.
Love that.
I've got the child toboggan.
Oh my God.
And dude, check this out. This is a crochet Baby Yoda that my mother found. This woman who has MS and she keeps herself busy, and she keeps, her hands nimble and whatnot, simply by making all of these crochet animals of various sorts. And
well, that story is so heartwarming. Now I can't make fun of you.
I know.
Wait,
well, another Baby Yoda for the set.
I love it.
It's like crocheted around a Tupperware bowl. It's really cool.
Oh, that's good for edibles.
All right. Well, we got
that's
a couple
really
of
cool,
people.
man. I like that.
We've got a couple of people. Thank you so much for the gifts. That was, man.
Oh, likewise, buddy. I love my
a
stuff.
Pez
Thank you.
sugar coma here in a minute.
There you go.
We've got Theo Priestley and Susie McCarthy in the green room. I think we should bring them on in and make this a party. What do you say?
Bring them in. Let's make it a party. Here we go.
Theo, are you ready? Susie, are you ready? Can I get a thumbs up? Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Thumbs up,
hey, Susie. Hey, Theo. How you doing?
Hey. I am doing good.
Hello.
Well, welcome to episode 70 of this silly stream that we started when the pandemic first broke out. And Theo, you are our very first guest on the show this year in January of 2021. Welcome back.
Really? Was I the?
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
I know.
And we're still stuck in this endless hell time loop that won't go away.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So this is like, we have no formula here today. We wanted to just hello, Ange. Ange is saying hello from Facebook.
Hi, Ange.
We've got some nerd friends all over the place. So we just had one question that we wanted to talk about here, and it is simply, what did you nerd out about this year? And it can be anything. So Theo, you have been so busy with game dev, and also I was really
book release. Hello.
I was really fascinated by the Star Trek, some of the Star Trek stuff you were talking about this week as well. So what are you nerding out about most, though?
What am I nerding out about most?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Getting to the end of the year still alive and in one piece, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll tell you what I nerded out recently, which was the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I obviously I can't spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen the film, but I just had so many feels watching that film.
Yeah.
Every single moment, it was just fantastic. The redemption arcs, the whole coming together, the whole plot line was just perfect. Even the ending, it was just like, oh my God, we haven't even started yet.
It was so great. And I don't want to give too much of it away, but the scene where they bring Thanos in and force him to work at a Burger King was so unexpected.
I was shocked. This is wild.
The entire theater was like, no.
What? Thanos? Make him work at a Wendy's, but a Burger King? I don't. I was surprised by that. Theo, what's the name of your? We have to be honest here. We have a fifth guest right now that none of us have acknowledged. What's the name of the cat, Theo?
That is Loki.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Awesome. Love it. Oh man. So
we have a Loki in the studio.
You know what? I have not seen.
Well, if we're gonna do that, then I might as well.
Superb.
Nice.
Don't encourage him, folks.
I have massive feelings of jealousy for you right now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well,
I
want to know.
Did really well too.
Susie, you were on the show like 3 or 4 times this year. You became almost like a series regular. We talked a lot about Funko Pops because you have a minor obsession.
Yes.
And so I want to know, I guess the big question is, did Santa bring you anything special in the Funko Pop arena?
He didn't. And I was I was a little shocked. I think my family is trying to, help me through this. They're like, let's just give it a pause. For right now, I will say a Funko Pop does join us, though. This is my my sister-in-law's Mr. Rogers.
Oh, that's excellent.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love that.
Which was really so the obsession is spreading. I will say I may have done a few pre-orders around Hawkeye.
So wait, Susie, can I ask you about Mr. Rogers? Is it
Yes.
I just got home and I haven't changed into the sweater yet, Mr. Rogers, or is it I've changed into the sweater and sneakers, Mr. Rogers?
Yep, I've changed into sweaters and sneakers, and he's holding the neighborhood trolley.
Oh, That's
is
awesome.
It is very, very adorable. It is.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So she was a massive fan. I did debut. I turned into a Funko Pop for Comic-Con, and found my counterpart at Comic-Con. So
Oh
I
my
did.
God, that's wow. She really looks like she's in black and white.
I
That is
know.
wild.
I know. No, she like, pay attention to her, not like me. I was kind of doing this is Wanda's casual look. But yeah, she had on like these nylons that it darkened. She had on like these nylon sleeves that got her to be black and white. If you can see that.
Yes.
That is so cool.
It was brilliant.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I never ask people for pictures. I just am not. I'm like kind of like, oh, this is amazing. I'll stop from afar. But I saw her, and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I took advantage. My husband actually went as Doctor Strange, but the casual Doctor Strange from the.
Nice.
So this is him. So we were the sweatpants superheroes.
I love that.
My mom made this amazing cape. Like, he actually has the full costume she made for him a few years ago. And so we were like, we can use the cape and just, and he has the O for Fox's sake mug, which you can get on Etsy. So yeah.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah,
Theo,
amazing.
I got another question for Theo. What's that Mandalorian thing you got kicking on that shelf back there?
Oh,
I would very much like to know what that is.
It is a giant Funko Pop.
I had a feeling.
Oh my gosh.
With a baby Yoda as well.
Oh my gosh. And that's almost like, wow.
And he's in his Beskar armor and his best suit as well.
Oh man.
Wow. I didn't know they made them.
I'd imagine Beskar is really heavy, so you must.
It is, I've been pumping iron.
You've been doing some reps there.
Wow, that's really cool.
Taking some tips from Thanos armor.
Yeah.
Oh, Susie, I have something to show you. Yeah. Susie, you and I talked about Tintin.
We share a love. Yes.
We share a love of Tintin. Well, I found out that there was this guy, Edgar P. Jacobs, who worked with Hergé or whatever it is on all the Tintin books, and helped out with the art and was kind of like a collaborator. And I found out he made his own series, and it looks just like Tintin.
Ooh.
Oh my God!
I mean, when you open it up, like it looks like a Tintin book, only it's a totally different series. So I haven't read it yet, but I just found out about there's 3 of these, and the third one looks awesome because it's like this crazy looking aircraft diving in over a battleship that's like guns ablazing. And so I've never heard of it, but I'm going to read it and see if it's any good. Hopefully there's no Hergé racial overtones, but
that is the problem with Hergé. Pay no attention to the early ones.
Oh, well, okay, never mind. I already found it.
Yeah.
It's already looking a little offensive. Oh no. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to show that.
I'm switching gears. I'm switching gears to
boy, that is
bringing in.
quickly.
We have another guest,
Dave
Ellis.
Howdy, y'all.
Hello.
So, Dave, you've been on the show earlier in the year as well, in the first half of the year, and we talked about. I love our freeze frame, which I think it's behind Susie's head, so you can't see it. But go check it out on my Twitter. You had the phaser. You were wearing your full Star Wars,
okay.
Star
All right,
Trek
take a breath, buddy.
uniform. But I want to know about your pinball collection, because we asked a poll earlier in the fall, and you showed off this amazing pinball collection that you have behind you. So tell us about that.
Let's hear about it.
Yeah, back in, I guess it was 98, I bought my first video game, arcade video game. It was just the Sega Star Trek arcade video game. And that was around
the cabinet, the stand-up, or the one that you sit down and you're actually
the stand-up.
Okay, yep.
And that was when I found out that you could actually own arcade games, and that took me down a very deep rabbit hole. When I moved,
the addiction settled
when I moved
quickly.
From Maryland to North Carolina, I found out that in Winston-Salem, about 4 times a year, they have an amusement auction where you can go and buy arcade games, pinball machines,
Wow.
and video games. That's only an hour and a half away. So the first auction I went to, I bought Spy Hunter and Time Pilot. And
Nice.
that was back in the day when nobody was buying these things.
Yeah.
I got Spy Hunter for $150, and
wow.
Oh my God, functioning?
Time Pilot was $95.
Whoa.
And they were both functioning?
Yyep.
Wait, don't you have to
100.
pay?
That's insane.
How many
Yeah.
quarters? You have to do that in quarters, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of
No
all
tickets.
the money that
Yeah.
all the money that I put in those games in the 80s, because I mean I was in high school and college when the arcades were huge, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
figured the arcades owed me some games with all the quarters I spent back then.
Oh man.
But yeah, I started out on video games. In 2004, I got my first pinball machine, and it was one that my wife and I both wanted to get, and that's the Addams Family right back there. Reverse.
Oh, yeah.
camera.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can see
that was
Morticia and Gomez are locked in
Yep.
an embrace there. They're dancing, I think.
It's one of the most popular pinball machines ever. More Addams Family pinball machines were made than any other single pinball machine.
Really?
Like around 22,000 of them
Wow.
were made. And it was
That's surprising.
expensive even back then for pinball machines, but pinball machines used to be cheap. The barcades have changed everything. Now pinball machines, if I had invested in pinball machines 10 years ago instead of 401k, I'd be rolling in it right now.
Well, I mean,
what
but
you're
Dave,
telling me-
it's the barcades and the Gen Xers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's also
It
because I
is.
see it all day long on Twitter of people who are like, I mean, look at you. There are people just like you that have them, you know, in their basements or in their whatever their entertainment rooms or you know such and such a cave or like I've got one right here in my home office, right? So, I mean, I just think there's a huge demand. It'll be interesting to see how long that demand lasts.
Yeah, the year of COVID blew it up too, because you couldn't go anywhere and play, and the home sales just skyrocketed, and
Yeah.
and the
I wanted to
resale
say-
market skyrocketed.
I tried to rent out a room in a barcade. I couldn't afford it. I mean, I wouldn't have. I would have had to cancel the plans for this week anyway. But to rent a barcade room in Greensboro this week was going to be like $1,000.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
You know,
Holy cow!
just to rent, just for like a food minimum and a whatever, and like it was.
So then that begs the question that I think we should all take a chance to answer is, and we'll start with Dave because it's probably in his house. What is your all-time favorite arcade game? Arcade, pinball, even if it's skee ball, doesn't matter. Something that you went to an arcade and had to put money in the machine to play. What is your all-time favorite arcade game? Dave, we'll start with you.
I'm going with Addams Family because I had lots of games. My collection of video games, and you can visit davesclassicarcade.com and see the whole
Of course
legacy
you can.
of it.
Of course.
But I eventually sold all the video games and increased the pinball machine collection because I found I was playing pinball way more than I was playing the video games. And certainly Addams Family is my favorite pinball machine. Like I said, I've had it since 2004. A lot of people that buy pinball machines now buy the new machine that comes out, get it home, play it 50 times and sell it. I take my time and pick the ones that I know I'm going to keep. I've only sold like
So you
3.
still play these games?
Oh God, yeah, every day, almost every day. Almost every day.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love
this
that.
past year has been my my Star Trek pinball year. I bought 3 Star Trek pinball machines. Well, the first one, the Next Generation, right behind me, I got that in at the end of 2019, right before the lockdown. And then last year, or the beginning of this year, I got the Star Trek movie machine, reversed camera, behind me. And then a few months ago, I got the 1979 Bally Star Trek machine because I've got more on the other side of the basement. So I've got 3 of the 4 Star Trek pinball machines.
Wow.
But
and
even
and a really exciting electric bill, I would assume.
well, I don't leave them on. But I mean, even with my love of Star Trek and my love of pinball, Addams Family is my favorite of all.
I love that.
How about
Susie?
you,
How
Susie?
about you? What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
It's gotta be Space Invaders and the tabletop, the full table one where you sit down. I spent so much time on that, and it's not the same trying to play any type of emulator or anything like that. Like the tabletop experience, just getting through there.
Where were you playing that? Because for me, it was like in the Pizza Hut.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones. Like
in fact, I think Pizza Hut is screwing up with their they've done this whole retro marketing, which is cool right now. They need to talk about the salad bar and the multicade table.
Yes.
What they need to do is make those restaurants look just like they did when we were younger, and there will be lines to get into them.
True.
Yes. Well, there was also what was it? There was like a salad bar that had, I think it was Mrs. Pac-Man, and it was another tabletop.
Yep.
That was just amazing. And so like usually like if my parents and I went, like my dad and I would like say peace out and we'd go and like log a good 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just like it's just such a great experience, and there's no substitution for kind of those big, those big machines. I'm like insanely jealous of your collection.
I'm super jealous. Susie, do you remember at Pizza Hut the red tumblers with like the bubbles in them that you would use to get the soda, or was that just up here? Remember, like you get this like red tumbler.
Those plastic ones,
the plastic ones.
I've actually got an amber version of one of those
with the pellet ice. Yeah,
I remember pellet ice. Pellet ice was great. What happened to pellet ice?
It's like an exclusive retro thing now. They put in a machine in our office here in RCP that puts out pellet ice, but it's a special thing now.
Yeah, Centerline's got
the little oh my god,
stuff,
wow.
Right? Like it just I don't know. Yeah, that stuff was great.
All right, let's turn to Theo. Theo, we want to know your favorite, and Loki can chime in too. By the way, if Loki also likes it. But Theo, what's your favorite arcade game?
The ones I can remember spending most time on was Operation Wolf, because I had the gun. They had the Uzi, and you had the Uzi. I remember Battlezone, and I have specific memories about that because as a treat when I was younger, as a child, my parents would take me up to the airport, and this was before airports were like closed off and things like that. You could actually go to the airport for like a day out treat and sit in the cafeteria upstairs and watch the planes going off. And in there was a Battlezone arcade machine, and I would beg to get 50 pence pieces, so I could plug them into the machines. There was a Missile Command, which is another great one because of the ball, so it was completely different because of that. So you would go, I want to play this kind of sort of thing.
There you go, Theo, right there, right?
Oh yes.
You have sustained a lethal injury. Sorry, but you are finished here.
But yeah, well, I mean, you used to have an arcade place in Lothian Road. In Edinburgh, and it was just like a place where you would go every weekend with a couple of friends and a bag of coins, and you would just spend all your money in there for a couple of hours.
Now they're coming back here. Have they started to come back there? Like the barcades, even actual just arcades are actually starting to make a bit of a comeback. Are you seeing that over there as well, Theo?
Not so much here. I mean, we did see some VR kind of sort of arcades, and of course the pandemic killed that right off because you can't touch anything. And I haven't seen anything specifically being marketed as like a barcade where you have wall to walls with machines and you can actually sit there. I mean, normally you find them with bowling alleys, so 10 pin.
Yeah.
You'll have a 10-pin alley, and then there will be like a specific zone that has loads of machines, and you have the claw machine and everything else there, and then you've got arcades. The claw.
The claw.
So much money wasted on those things.
Oh God, yeah. You come pick it up.
Yeah.
That's why I
Venus
love that scene in
Love Springs
Squid Game
Eternal.
when he's playing those. If you've seen Squid Game, the whole
Yeah.
claw scene is great. He gets the little kid to do it.
Oh God.
Yeah, but those are about the only places that I actually see like real sort of new arcades. There aren't so many old school ones, like Dave has in his background kind of thing, which is a shame because I would love that. Oh my God, Galaga! That's so good.
I gotta show you. I got this. It looks really huge on the screen, but it's a mini.
I love the little mini ones. I can't play them, but I do love having them.
You can hear it. Oh, yeah.
Dave, that's as good as we can do.
That's as good as we can do. Yeah, I've got a very. Maybe I should build a mini arcade. I think that's the only thing I could do in this tiny.
That'd
office.
be adorable. That would be very.
We have this place in Massachusetts. It's out in Western Mass. I actually should look it up to see if it survived COVID or not. But it was called The Quarters, and it's not that big, but it has great food, great drinks, There's just toys, 80s toys. There's like shelves all sort of above touching reach. And it's just like everything you can imagine, AT-ATs and laser tag and ghost. I mean, it's everything. But what's really cool there is they have a warehouse full of games, and they swap them out a lot. So every time you go, unless it's a sort of heavy hitting quarter eater like X-Men or something like that, they change the games out constantly. And on Saturday mornings, they have a sugar cereal buffet.
Oh my God.
So you go in and it's like unlimited.
That's amazing.
You can like eat sugar cereals and play video games, and it's just a great place. There's another one not far from it called the Hangar, which is a sort of a more traditional barcade where it's a sort of a giant rectangle, and one L of the rectangle is all video games, classics and modern, and then the other L, the walls are just full of labels and taps. And you have what looks like a little credit card and a cup, and you go up and you tap it, and then it fills your mug with, there's like 100 different beers and ciders and everything. And the cards are interchangeable, so you can use them on the games and on the beer. Right. So it's convenient. It's a really cool thing. But Ryan, what about you, man? What's your favorite arcade machine of all time?
I'm thinking. I think I showed it. It's either Galaga or Spy Hunter. So that those for me. I was thinking about this. Do you remember? So my son got an Oculus for Christmas, and he was not really sure what to buy. He ended up downloading a roller coaster game, and then my younger, like 6-year-old niece, 11-year-old nephew were obsessed with the roller coaster ride. And I started to think, like, do you remember when you played Spy Hunter and you played like 1942, where it was just like the scroller, just like infinite scroller, and you would play it for like an hour, 2 hours, maybe if you're really good, you're playing that long, and then you would go to bed at night and you would feel like you're still moving, almost like from when you like went skiing and you have that same sensation when you lay down and you feel like your body is still moving, or you had that effect with those games. And I just wondered, like, are you going to get that from VR? What's going to be like the downstream effect of that? So, well,
we had the old original Oculus software development kit here. It was like the big honking one with all the cables, and so it was really driven by the laptop. And we had one here years ago, and you did get a lot of, I wouldn't say motion sickness. You certainly could, because there's 3 games that we remember. One is a roller coaster where you went through these rooms full of lava, and it was incredibly well detailed. Like you could actually stop it, and I remember looking down, and you could actually see the lava beneath. It was really wild. The other one was a Jurassic Park thing where you were walking in the woods, and suddenly you turn around, there's just a gigantic dinosaur right behind you, like coming in and looking at you. But then there was one called the Grand Tour, which really blew me away, and it was a tour of the solar system, and it showed you. It would show you the planet, what it looks like if you were millions of miles away, but it also showed you like what Jupiter would look like if you were literally right near it. So you got this like huge sense of the planets. I also learned there's a protoplanet in Saturn's rings called Pan that acts as a little plow, and that's why there's holes in some of the rings. Like I never knew that.
No idea.
There's
me
a little
neither.
protoplanet, and they call it Pan because
Cool.
it never aged as a planet. It stayed young, and it's just circling around Saturn. But that one, you would get that feeling later. So like you'd be done using it, and you'd kind of have this weird feeling. We've had an Oculus here for about a year or so, and they seemed to have fixed that. It was a frame rate issue, and it was also there was something else in it that they changed, the focus ability and everything. And
well, I don't
there's
mean
none
getting
of that.
motion sickness necessarily, just that feeling.
Yeah, but you would feel it later.
Where your brain is essentially feeling emotion, or your with your eyes. I will say this, and then Theo, I know you've played in this space a little bit with work and play, but there's an International Space Station, I think, demo for Oculus. I want to try that out. But yeah.
Well, there's also there was an Apollo 11 one that was amazing. That is when I had the Galaxy gear. So, it was like you'd put the phone on your face kind of thing. And it had this thing it went into. And I regret now that I never used it. I'm hoping it comes to Oculus because it really gave you a great sense of what it was like to get out of the van, go up the ladder, the tower, get into the command module, the launch. And my son said it was like unbelievable. And I think they're working to actually like make it better, upscale the graphics there a little bit and bring it to the Oculus. And that I don't know. I mean, I think those things are great. I think that's what nursing homes will look like when we're all older. They're going to look like arcades, and just all of us like, sitting in our Wall-E chairs, just with VR, living out a youthful existence in the metaverse until someone comes to knock on us and we're already dead. Like that's what it'll be like, and that's fine. Just plug me into the Matrix, man. I'm ready.
Do you see Black Mirror?
Yes.
San Junipero. I think I'm saying that right. One of just such a sweet episode, but
I love that episode.
Yeah, and I just love that concept. It's very, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's funny because the Black Mirror that everybody always talks about is the one with the robots, the dogs.
Yeah.
And so in January, I'm being trained to run a Spot from Boston Dynamics, the actual robot dog. And it's funny that I have this entirely different view now. No longer am I worried about them being murder machines. Now I'm just like, oh, Spot, I love you. You're so cute.
That's how they get you.
It
is.
is.
You're
worried about the murder machine.
Don't let your guard down.
They're like teaching them to use guns now. Like, I can't. I'm sorry. Like, humans are having issues using guns. Like, do we really?
Well,
I know, but even the user manual is so cute. Like, there's like little pictures of it. Like, one of the things they teach you in here is how to. This is so adorable. Like, how to get Spot to lie down and waggle its legs, and like have it act like an actual animal.
This is all on purpose, though,
like,
right?
They're just softening me up.
This has been focus grouped, and this is really good marketing.
They're like, this is that you believe like the original Terminator was like a nice little dog that rolled over, and then they added
Cyberdyne Spot.
Added missile launchers in the belly and things like that.
What's that? Oh, don't worry. He's just really happy to see you.
Oh my God. I love it.
Let me ask
That's why the dogs bark at the Terminators.
Let me ask everyone. Let me ask the whole panel here.
That's clever.
So it's worlds colliding here. So there's a few. So Theo, you've been tweeting about Star Trek all week, and going down memory lane with a lot of the films and stuff.
Yeah.
It's been great.
We had Uhura's birthday this week, just yesterday. So Dave, Theo, Graham, you are all three like the biggest Star Trek nerds I probably know. And Susie, you actually did a great job. Like, you pitched us, like, I'm counting here, a dozen topics for us to talk about today. I think we should talk about, though, there was a lot that happened in Trek this year, right?
Yes.
So everything from, we talked a lot about Discovery and Lower Decks, but what, I guess we wanted to talk about, like, what did you nerd out about most? So I guess let's go around and talk about just what was your favorite Trek thing this year, and what and why.
Love that.
So Susie, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah. So I I love all the Treks. It's hard to pick which one. I grew up with OTS, reruns and TNG and kind of all that. I really love Discovery. I love where they're taking it. Last season was a little confusing for me. This season, I'm very excited. When we go to, my husband and I, we go to New York Comic Con. Usually the panel, the cast is fully there. And so they were there this time, which was really cool. And we got to see the preview along with them and just seeing like their excitement and just kind of how they were engaging with it. I just, really, really cool. And again, I think the interesting thing that what Trek is doing is they're doing a really interesting job of painting this, expanding the universe, but I think in many ways still, connecting the dots. And so giving us, connecting to the lore, which is what we want, right? So giving us those callbacks, giving us those like connections back, but then also very much saying this is that future. And you have these really interesting things where, especially, I don't want to do spoilers for Discovery, but there's some interesting things just in terms of where the story goes that it's hearkening back to, what is the core reasons for the Federation?
I'm going to do costume changes whenever possible.
Our show is full of spoilers, so we ought to be able to nerd out here.
So,
I mean, my biggest thing with Discovery is just like I've appreciated, regardless of the directions they've gone, I appreciated that like every season has like sort of changed completely. You know what I mean? Like been a new thing instead of just, more missions or more like monster of the week type of formula.
Yeah. I think that's where I would say they're succeeding where Enterprise didn't. And you definitely have a sense like the writers, there's more control of the people who should be in control, I would argue. But there are some interesting connections, right? Where you kind of have, again, why is the Federation there? Why do you have a prime directive? Why do you have these different things? And so kind of going to these worlds.
Prime directive, schmime directive. We don't need to stick to that.
It's more of a suggestion,
right? They're trying to get them like, back in the Federation, and you're, even the cadets. So there's a great episode where like Tilly is leading this like band of cadets in this season. And it's just, you're like, this is great. I've been enjoying that. I've also been loving Lower Decks. It's the tongue in cheek there is just hilarious.
So good.
It's just great. And then, oh my goodness, I can't remember the name, the little kids show. I watched
Prodigy.
I've watched a few episodes of that, and it's cute.
We didn't have cartoons that good when we were kids.
No. Yeah,
because we had the original animated Star Trek in the
I remember that
70s, and that wasn't much.
This is I definitely feel like with Prodigy, they're looking at Star Wars as success, and they're like, okay, like we can do some stuff there, like we can get this new band of fans going. So yeah, I'm not watching that as religiously.
What I love
awesome
about what they're doing with Star Trek, and what I think what you touched on, is that they're taking Star Trek as a place to tell stories, as opposed to Star Trek. The original series was the original series, and when they made Next Generation, they're like, it can't be Star Trek without Kirk and Spock.
Right.
And then it was like, well, it can't be Star Trek without the Enterprise. Well, yeah, it can. It's a world that you can tell stories in.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
And I think that they are proving that time and again by telling very different stories. Like Lower Decks, I've loved from the beginning, and it's not only very funny. You would expect that from the people who created Rick and Morty, that it would be a funny show, but it's also
good Trek.
It's good Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the chip on the shoulder of the California class. Yeah, like just that is the constant narrative, and like then the bridge crew versus the other, but just the idea of like these secondary ships that help the Enterprise. They're kind of like, we're not the Enterprise.
Dave, you make such a good point. My buddy Barnaby makes the same point all the time. Is like, there's hundreds of ships and thousands of crew members and millions of worlds. Like, why do they feel we always have to see the thing that worked the last time? Like, it's like just I would be happy. Like Voyager was an entirely DS9 was entirely different. Like right, I mean, just like pick a ship, name a crew, and like let's go. Right? Maybe we see. I mean, I'd love to see an anthology series where it's like one day it's a tug, one day it's a medical frigate, one day it's a transport ship, one day it's a. I don't know if you ever, Dave, you have a copy. Remember that book, Starfleet Prototypes? Where there's like a million different ships. There was like a shuttlecraft aircraft carrier version of a starship. There was all these different starships, and I remember looking at that book, literally flipping every page, being like, "This is a show. This is a show. Like this is a show." Right?
I thought the same thing. Do you remember they used to do? And I don't. They may still do it, but they would do an annual, a 12-month or 16-month calendar, ships of the line.
Yes, ships of the line.
I got that. I used to buy, even when when we stopped hanging calendars on a wall when we got our smartphones, I was still buying the calendar.
Yes.
Small phones, right? They got smaller. But the ships of the line, the same thing. I'm flipping through that going, what is this story? Like I wanted to know about those other places.
What about you, Theo? What's been a hot Star Trek item for you, Theo?
I have to say, I have not caught Discovery season 4 yet, primarily because they took it away from Netflix, and so it's really difficult for me to actually access unless I want to. Yeah, unless I want to pay.
Can you use a VPN?
Yeah, I can use VPNs. I've just been really lazy.
That's how we watch all of our British.
Plus login. I can just give you my Paramount Plus login.
Right. Well, I also used to do torrents as well, really badly. For these things. Especially when I was watching different shows like Doom Patrol and Titans before it came on Netflix and things like that. So I haven't caught Discovery yet. But I have enjoyed 1, 2, and 3 so far from what I've seen. And I completely agree with the whole sort of the notion and the direction that Star Wars has taken, which is let's create pocket universes where we tell different stories from different perspectives. Because Trek, you could take like the cleaner that cleans the decks or cleans Starfleet headquarters from the olden days kind of something. Well, he must have heard a few things, so what's the stories that he could tell kind of sort of stuff. It's not always about the Enterprise, spin it out.
Maybe it's not about a ship. Maybe what if we have like a Hunt for Red October type situation in space where it's like an analyst from Starfleet archives has to go out
the Wreath of Khan.
Oh my God.
I can't. I saw that, Theo. That's good.
I mean, I want y'all to keep talking, and I'm gonna do some just visuals because Theo's Twitter feed has been just like cracking me up all week long with
I have literally gone down the rabbit hole of like old school Trek, and I'm Wrath of Khan is my favorite movie.
It's so good.
And then when you start listening to the soundtracks, and of course stealing the Enterprise was such a great it was such a great thing. And that I really want to sort of actually do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for a New Year marathon. And I know I think they're doing. Have they released the motion picture in 4K yet?
No, I don't think it's been released yet. I've been seeing the stills from it, and it's going to trick me into watching it again.
Definitely.
Every couple of years, I'm like, it can't be as bad as I remember it. And then I watch it, and it's like, it's as bad as I remember.
Well, you are making.
You know what? I love Star Trek, the slow motion picture.
The slow motion
picture.
I do. I celebrate the entire movie. I'm not joking. I really love it. But for me, I would say there were a couple of things. First of all, Lower Decks, which I had never seen before this year and watched both seasons, just completely blew me away. And I mean, I don't think I was 5 minutes into it until I was like, I should have watched this from the day it came out. It's so good. It's just full of joy, and full of like, I love when she's like friendship. Like it's just it's just full of friendship, and I really love the stories. I loved celebrating the 30th anniversary of Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country because, first of all, I passionately love that movie. I just think it's incredibly well done.
30 years? 30?
Yeah.
30 years.
Fuck off.
I'm not fucking kidding. 30 years, man. 30 years.
Oh
and so I was reminiscing with my buddies because we all went to see it together in Northampton, Massachusetts, and we have never stopped quoting that film. I mean, I remember one time I was in New York City with a friend of mine, and he was giving me a tour of his restaurant, and it turns out it was Tavern on the Green, kind of famous place in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that night they had this, they were doing a DVD release for The Sound of Music, and the whole cast was there. And Christopher Plummer was there. And I just kind of turned around at one point and he's like, yeah, Sound of Music. He's like, I know you love that movie. I'm like, I do. And he's like, oh, look, there's Julie Andrews and blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but there's General Chang. I'm like,
yeah.
That's General Chang. So for me, celebrating the 30th anniversary of Star Trek VI was really cool. But then the other thing that I really loved this year was engaging with Michael Okuda on Twitter. He is a very, very, very accessible individual. And there are limits to when you contact a celebrity. And I'm not suggesting everybody spams the hell of and be like, I love you. But like a couple of times, like recently I was watching, if you'll excuse me if I get a little teary up, but The Inner Light, so beautiful. I was watching The Inner Light again, and we all sort of focus on the Ressican flute in that episode and the song and how touching it is, and Picard goes off and lives this entire other life and everything. And one of the things that I really studied, because now when I go back and I watch an episode that I haven't seen, I try to study them. I try to look past where the camera is focused. I look at the background. I really try to study the episodes. And what was really cool is he in that episode, obviously as the situation on that planet gets worse. What was the name of the planet, Dave? Began with a K? Remember?
Oh crap.
Hot seat.
Oh,
okay, who can do it first? Buzz in.
Come on.
But as it got worse on the planet, the light changes throughout the episode, and by the end of the episode, it's very whitewashed, and you really get the sense that the planet is dying. And so I was curious, like, did they do that through physical changes of set lights? Like, did they really crank up the set lights, or was it done in post-production? And I kind of just asked the question on Twitter and included a picture, but I tagged him. I wasn't like, hey, Michael. I just tagged him, and he immediately responded, and he was like, nope, that was done through post-production. And then what was really cool is he told me that in re-releases, they screwed it up. They kind of like messed with the colors. And in the original release, and when they converted them, and in the original release, when you first saw the planet, it was a much warmer light. So then I went and Googled images and found what it looked like when it was first released, and it was this warm light. So that has also been a highlight for me, is engaging with different people connected
you
to
also
all.
You also got to engage with Robert Hewitt Wolf through me.
I sure did.
My favorite Star Trek writer, who randomly followed me on Twitter for whatever reason, and is extraordinarily accessible. And Graeme had a bunch of Star Trek things that he was like, hey, can you identify any of this stuff? You got it from a relative that used to work at Paramount.
And they were like press kits and slides and photos and scripts and all, but I couldn't.
But I was like, well, I don't know what they are. I haven't seen them before, but I'm, Robert Hewitt Wolf, my favorite Star Trek writer, follows me on Twitter, and he's very accessible. And I don't know if I can promise anything, but maybe I can ask him if he would look at them. And he was like, sure.
Yeah. So I think the celebrities that don't troll, but the celebrities who engage. Now, again, there are limits to that. Obviously, if I started firing questions off at Michael Okuda every day, I'd be a reply guy in 2 seconds flat, and he'd ban me, and that's fine. But this notion of like acceptable, responsible, appropriate accessibility. So that's really exciting. Like when you get these little questions asked, and I try never to like retweet or fanboy or be like, oh my God, Mark Hamill RT'd me. Like I don't do that. I just say, thank you. I really appreciate the time and attention. Thanks. And so there are some really great people from the world of Trek, especially I find, who are very accessible and love to talk to the fans. That is true. Definitely also true for Lower Decks.
Speaking of, Dave, you you did some winter cleaning in your attic recently, and you found what I think is referred to as a metric crap ton of crap that you didn't need, but you found something really interesting, some Smithsonian shots. What's this?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I was I guess it's almost a lost art of developing film. I had a photography class that I took, and I used to shoot a lot of black and white film. And with this in the Smithsonian, it wasn't in the Air and Space Museum at the time. It was in the television, the television area of the museum. They had the original model of the Enterprise hanging there, and I shot those pictures. I guess when I was in high school, and I developed them myself, and they sat at the bottom of a box until Monday afternoon.
Wow!
When I dug them out, so I'm gonna take those and get those framed because they're pretty cool shots.
All right. I'm retweeting that. I'm retweeting.
Yeah, that's super cool, Dave.
So before we get off of Star Trek and Star Trek 6 specifically, I wanted to ask you, Graham, about that. You've seen the director's cut of Star Trek 6, right?
I have.
Changes the entire film.
I don't know why that wasn't just the film.
I mean, the fact that the assassin turns out to be a Federation, the head of Federation security, and not a Klingon, changes everything at the end of the movie.
Yep.
It changes the whole level of that conspiracy, and I thought that was amazing.
Well, so that was really cool. The other thing I liked about the director's cut is when it turns out that, the Arboretum in the Enterprise, and there's like the trees. It turns out that the person that takes care of the trees is Thanos. I just did not see that coming. It was just like,
again,
wow.
He gets everywhere.
It's the what if crossovers, right? Yeah. So anything could happen. But I do hope that they do more with Star Trek security, because over several different shows, they have done some stuff about the shady stuff that they get up to, right? There was some ideas. I think at one point they announced that they were potentially going to do something. We thought that maybe there was going to be a spinoff from Discovery. Hasn't happened. But that would just be really interesting.
Section 31.
Section
that
was supposed to be a Section 31.
There was, and it just didn't.
I'm happy with the one that's coming, though. I cannot wait to see Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
I mean, my favorite season of Discovery so far was season 2, and largely because of Pike and Spock and the Enterprise.
Yes.
And I mean, I thought that was just amazingly good, and they were so good at the parts.
Imagine just that weight. That it's that thing. You're always like, how are they going to act? Like, how are they going to handle all this?
And I would just say, Anson Mount is just so dreamy. I mean, can we all agree?
I got to meet them.
But Susie, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they did something like The Hunt for Red October, right? Like, do a version of something like that where it's like an analyst or a security professional, or or something like an Indiana Jones. Remember we saw that Starfleet library in Star Trek Into Darkness, like. Deploy people from that who have to go. I mean, archaeology was such a big part of Picard. There's so many things that
I don't know though. I don't know if Alec Baldwin is going to fit in the red shirt though.
Alec Baldwin's a little busy right now.
I'm sorry, too soon. Okay. All right, folks, we are almost at the top of the hour. We have 7 minutes left, and thank you, Dave. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Thea, for being here.
Thank you.
Let's wrap this up with sort of some navel gazing about the future, because I think we can all agree this year, as I said at the top, has been a long decade, and we are ready for another one, and maybe a redo, and maybe I don't know what. But let's go around the horn here and talk about what we're excited about coming into the new year. So, Theo, I'm gonna give you the floor first.
Me?
I'm putting you on the spot. I know we didn't have prepared answers here, but come on.
A couple of big things. One, I'm getting married in May.
Oh,
wow!
All right, take a moment.
To Loki?
Wow.
So
Awesome.
Yeah, we've been together for 7 years, and we're getting married next year. I say next year is like next week, isn't it? Really, but in May. So fingers crossed. Hopefully, the pandemic will have eased a little bit to allow us to have the number of people that we actually want, and we don't have to wear masks and things. Because nobody wants to take wedding photos with masks on.
What color Starfleet uniforms are you going to wear in the ceremony?
Yes,
I am not wearing a red shirt.
With the kilt, right? The top, and then a kilt.
And then a kilt, yeah.
Could be good.
And then the second one is obviously continuing our work with the game dev, hopefully securing further funding to allow us to build the studio up to full capacity, and then hunker down for 3 or 4 years and build the game itself.
Oh, that's so exciting, Theo. That's awesome.
Susie,
so that's me, yeah.
Or
Susie, I think you might have one almost like a equivalent or almost a one-up kind of thing going on for next year. So tell us about it.
Yes. So my husband and I are bringing a little Trekkie into this world.
More applause.
Yes. So we'll have our hands busy on there, and so definitely I'm already looking, I'm probably not going to be staying as up to date on all my Marvel and fandoms as I would hope, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, we're very excited about that. Please send baby Star Trek.
I want to reassure you that like Graeme and I are proof positive that you can make it work. You just have to find a small corner of your house that nobody is going to disturb.
Yes, find the balance. We were at Comic-Con. We were looking at some of the little outfits. We're like, next year, but COVID.
By the way, proof that you can buy onesies that I bought for my son when he was born.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's Justin. He doesn't want me to show that picture very often, but that is him in his onesie positioned on the bridge.
Thank you. Yes. There's lots of cute things on the geek side, and we'll see where Brain gets to it. I am looking forward to Marvel taking all of these plot lines that they've put out, and we keep getting told, right? Like, this will explain everything.
Yep.
Honestly, Spider-Man didn't explain everything. Hawkeye did not explain everything. It's just in some ways you're like, I even have more questions. I do love how they keep giving us. I do love how they do keep revisiting the blip and giving us a little bit more about that experience. If you haven't seen Hawkeye, definitely do. There's some really cool bits there. But I'm excited, with Miss Marvel, just some of these others that are coming in. Multiverse of Madness, the introduction of America Chavez, I think is going to be amazing. Just, there's some cool things, and I'm just hoping, right? It's very much a fan's hope here, right? That you see this, Kevin Feige's kind of master story, and you're like, oh, that's connected. Because I think that was the theme of 2021, is each one was like, this will get us there. This will tell us what the nope. We got more. But I think in 2022 we need to get to some point of, okay, now I get something at least. So fingers crossed. It seems promising.
I'm with you.
I think that sounds
I just
great.
Finished Hawkeye, I think, a couple of nights ago, and I actually enjoyed it. There's been a lot of mixed reactions, but I thought it was pretty neat. So
I liked the Die Hard homage in a lot of ways.
Right.
I am a huge fan of Die Hard. Definitely a Christmas movie in my house. So just kind of viewing it in that line, and just kind of in all of that. What's not to love?
Dave?
Totally.
Yeah, for me, I've got a couple of Star Trek projects that were on the back burner for a while. A couple of fan films that I've written. One of which I was going to shoot in the spring of this year, or last year, whatever. I've lost track of the years, but it was during the shutdown, and it was right when the shutdown happened. So it was 2020. I was going to shoot that one, and I wrote another one that. Graeme has read the script for
so good
for 359. That one
so good.
I've started shooting. It's I conceived it as something that could be done over Zoom, but then I dragged my feet so long that we actually are shooting it in my basement. I've got really nice green screen set up now. But it just a short synopsis. It's set in escape pods after the Battle of Wolf 359.
Wow,
it's really, really good. It's heartbreaking.
So I've got two fan films written that I want to shoot both of them next year. The other one has to be shot on a set. on the set in Georgia, the original series set. But those I'm looking forward to. And on the other side of the fandom side of Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, of course, and then Picard season 2 starts up in the I think in February.
Yes.
So looking forward to that for sure.
That's I'm so excited about that one. It'll be exciting.
All right, we're going to continue to go around. All right. Well, for me, I don't know, man. 2022, I have a very low bar. But it's not been a bad. This has not been a. I mean, when you look at it in retrospect, we're blessed and we've been lucky this year. Only a few minor hiccups, and I'm just hoping personally that my family continues to have their own success, and I'm just here to kind of help that along. And I'm also looking at what am I going to do professionally to grow into the DevRel space or something like that, and evangelism this year. So I'm just looking forward to that. I will do my dad humble brag moment. Both of my sons, I have a freshman at UNC Chapel Hill and a junior at UNC Charlotte. They're both studying computer science. They both made straight A's in this semester that they went back to school.
Wow,
that's awesome.
That is huge.
In fact, my younger son, who just started at Carolina, made a 100 in his Calc 2 class as a freshman. So he's we need to sign him up for Starfleet post haste. He's going to be wearing a yellow. I think he's going to be wearing a yellow shirt down in engineering. I think we can make it happen.
I don't think in every math class I ever took in my entire academic career it would add up to 100.
I know. Right?
No way, dude.
I'm in the same boat there. I'm the humanities person.
So
I'm in marketing.
I'm a writer, damn it, not a mathematician.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
So good for you. You raise those math people.
We need
we need them.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. So how about you, Graeme? Bring it home.
Well, let's see. A couple of things. I was really looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, Ryan, but we'll put that on the back burner, and maybe that'll still happen down in Raleigh. But if not, we'll find another way for Dallas or Barcelona or one of these trips coming up. I'm looking forward to learning how to be a spot handler or a robot dog walker, if you will. I mean, there's so much great Trek and Star Wars and Marvel and all kinds of stuff, but I'm also really looking forward to developing my own spin-off. It's a Star Trek, Star Wars. It's called Red Shirt Jedis, where it's going to be a crossover event. You just have to trust me on that.
Red Shirt Sith is what it looks like.
It's going to be. Right. I don't know why I won't shut off.
I would watch that.
Button.
I would watch that, especially if there's Northeast kind of accents or something. You can a brogue you can mix in there or something. I don't know.
It's a show where the stormtroopers miss but the red shirts die anyway.
There we go.
Yeah. And then the last thing I would say is,
all right,
I'm looking forward to getting back out on the ATV in the spring, certainly, or hopefully we get to ride in the winter. But my crew chief and his son, they also bought GoPro Hero 9s, so we will now have multiple cameras, multiple tripods, all the equipment that we can bring around with us. I'm fixing my racks up to be able to carry even more gear. So we'll have food, fuel, cameras, everything. And so one of the things that we've decided, taking a look back at the Black Cherry Garage footage over the course of that we captured over the summer and fall, was that almost all of it is from some sort of perspective of the vehicle or the helmet or aiming at the rider, but the cameras are always moving with us. And what we want to start doing is putting cameras in static places so that you see us go by at speed. So one of the things that we're looking forward to is getting better at the craft of producing these videos, because they're a lot of fun to make. We have it adds to the mission of riding, and it's just a lot of fun.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
This was cool.
I'll be stalking you on Twitter, waiting for that content.
I feel I appreciate that. We could so much we didn't get to. I want to invite any of you. Graeme and I are gonna do a deep dive on Matrix Resurrections in a show in the new year here.
Yeah.
I'm a big Matrix
we're
nerd.
given enough time where we can go spoiler crazy and nobody's gonna hate on us. We'll make sure we put warnings.
And I need to watch it. I think 10 times and take notes and do all that.
I'll tell you, seeing it the second time made a big difference for me.
Oh yeah, I had a big light bulb moment. Big light bulb moment watching it the
Yeah.
second time at home. Watched it the first time in the theater, and that was cool. But there was a lot of the distractions of just people cheering and people like laughing at the in jokes, and so you didn't really absorb all the subtleties.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but again, the scene where they're in the Simulatte coffee place and it turns out the barista is Thanos. I was like,
it was completely unexpected. All right, folks, this has been Weeks In, show number 70.
yes.
Dave, Susie, Theo, thank you for coming back to the show.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Helping us see 2020 out on its ass. And we're going to see you all in 2022 here.
Awesome.
We normally go on Fridays. I think we'll continue to do that in the new year. So join us back on the Twitters,
Theo,
the Twitches, the YouTubes.
Good luck with planning the wedding and getting that squared away. My stepson and his wife, after years of attempts and things getting derailed for lots of issues, but also including COVID, they finally got married this past summer, and it was absolutely spectacular. Susie, we're so happy for you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Stay healthy. That's going to just be the greatest thing in the world coming up. But I know you got the power to do it. Dave, keep going with the pinball machines, man. Like you're like a museum curator, and we really appreciate that. And Ryan,
we need to come have
get help for your Grogu addiction. It's time.
Well, the next show is going to be an intervention. That'll be show 71. Ryan, we've all
Ryan,
written
thanks
something.
for joining us. But anyway, thank you all so much. Our best into the new year, and same for you, Weeksenders. For those of you who have joined us over the course of the past 70 episodes, whether you've joined us for a minute or for an hour or whatever it is, we really appreciate you joining us. We have a lot of fun. We essentially do this for each other, really not for you, but we're glad you're here. So keep joining us.
That's accurate. We're your leading source of useless information. We now have an official tagline. It's been approved by legal. I just want to say go Wolfpack. And so everybody, I'm going to hit in broadcast. We've done this thing. We're going to do a freeze frame. So pick your pose, and we'll see you next time, folks.